must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. In the political command center is none other than Dr. David Matsang, myself, presenting this show this morning at exactly 20 minutes past 11. We delayed for another 20 minutes, but we have 40 minutes or so or beyond, because this one is an extra hour that takes us up to 1, but we shall cut the story short. Good morning, all of you, the panelists on the platform this morning. I don't know whether, Miriam, you are hearing me audibly.
Yes.
Yeah, so that I don't shout like the usual points, jam me up and then I start shouting. Good morning, all of you. Joseph Nachama, Dr. Joseph Nachama, thank you for sparing your time and your precious arrangements to come to this show this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Masanga, Miriam, Sharon, Walter Wish. It's my pleasure to have this discussion this morning. Thank you, Dr.
Good morning, Tawish, from all the way from Narok, where you have decided to stick completely and create a base. Thank you very much for reporting to us from Narok. Good morning, Tawish. Tawish, are you there? Okay.
Good morning to you, Dr. David Masanga. Good morning to my colleague panelists and everyone who came to Africa.
Thank you very much. Across in the counties, we have the legacy trend, Sharon Gitonga. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning to you, Dr. David, my fellow panelists, and all our viewers across the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good morning, all our viewers across the world, those watching us. We would like to advise our Biafran brothers that now you leave our platform in peace. We don't want those messages because the case, according to the Kenyan law now, it is in the court, and we are not going to discuss a case that is in court. So we are asking the Biafran brothers who come to this platform to know very well that insults on our platform is not necessary. The truth now has come out, and you know where and how the operations took place in the judgments, in the petitions that have been filed to court. So your insults on us are shameful. They have been shameful, and they will be shameful. And when you want us actually to support your cause, stop insulting this platform. Now the case by Kenyan law is in court, and we don't comment on cases that are in court in our country. At least in this civilized part of Africa, cases are not commented on while they are in court. We just want to thank the family. We want to thank the brother, especially the brother who understands our position. We have nothing to do with whatever. We don't direct what the Kenya government does, although we need that we give them support on things that are not worth supporting. And therefore, for us, we have been a victim of circumstances, and you have tried to kill a living for some of us who are online. You have tried to destroy our television station, Miriam. We have not had any meaningful discussion on this platform. And yet we came in to help to expose the problem to the international community. So right now the case is in court. I want to ask my Biafran brothers and sisters that let's wait for the outcome of the proceedings in court. And I think you have seen within the proceedings, you haven't seen punchline mentioned anywhere that we were part and parcel. We did not even know where your leader was. We did our interview blindly. Had we known where he was, we would have not done that interview. That's the regret I am making tonight and this morning. But anyhow, as a fighter, as a freedom fighter, wherever it is across the world, I will still maintain. Miriam, before I started this topic, I want to thank you and thank God. And I continue to thank God for my strength that from 1998, I have been campaigning for Zimbabwe to return to the Commonwealth. I've been campaigning for Zimbabwe to be accepted by the British. I have been doing so without looking for money. And I'm happy today to see the results that the president of Zimbabwe will be visiting the United Kingdom again and share a cup of tea with Her Majesty the Queen. I have won. I have won. I have won a battle that took me down, that threatened me. Those who wanted to kill me like a Jonathan Moyo, shame on you. You can see how God works miracles. God works miracles. Pambana, Pamberi. Thank you very much. It's a victory of silent, resilient, silent, resilient advocacy. I did it. I did it. You cannot exclude that history. You cannot remove me from that history of Zimbabwe. Returning to United Kingdom next month, I will be one of the most happiest man on the planet if God, the Maker, calls me. Now I'm happy. And the same thing that I'm struggling for in Kenya, that I want to see a country that stands, unites together, moves together. That's why I brought this topic this morning. Miriam, that is you can't say I was not there. Go back and read from Mugabe times to Mnangagwa times, Matsanga. You can't swallow your tea without my name. I want to thank the people of Britain. And when I wrote a letter to the British Foreign Secretary, Miriam, you remember that letter? You have a copy there. Stephen can give you the copy. Recently. Yes. I wrote a letter and that guy did not answer me. I wrote another one to the Prime Minister. And I said, Mr. Prime Minister, why a minister cannot answer? I am an African, an expert. I studied in the same universities of the United Kingdom. And I know where conflict bites, where things will be bad. And I've written to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Kingdom. It takes a hardline stance. Where is he tonight? Miriam will tell us in the diaspora dispatches. Have you told people about the reshuffle? Did you see the reshuffle in Britain?
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it later.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahab. We meet again. We meet again. Never try to tackle this African. Come when you are prepared. On matters that are there, that are real, don't come when you don't have enough stones. I want to thank God for giving me that attribute to always stand out for Africa. My target is Buhari now. My target next is Buhari. Nigeria is sinking. And as I spread my gospel of reconciliation in Africa. Thank you very much. Miriam and the panel. This morning, I am going to touch on an issue that you have touched on already. I was listening to you people when you are debating Dialogue or no dialogue? Who is asking for dialogue? Why are they asking for dialogue? What happened when the dialogue was needed? Who influenced them to ask for dialogue? What has changed now? What do you think will change? What do they want to achieve? Today, I'm being candid. My mouth has two words: bold facts. And Tawish knows that, Miriam, you know when I mean to say something. At times when we used to present it together on the same desk, you say, hey, this is serious. I want to tell you, the bishops, you told me which bishops are asking for dialogue. These are the same people who made the mess. This is the church that messed up the politics of BBI. This is the church that went around to preach against BBI. This is the church that brought animosity between Uhuru and Ruto. This is the church that gave Ruto a platform to injure, to insult Uhuru Kenyatta. They gave Ruto a platform. They gave the pulpit. They don't know anything about dialogue. What is dialogue in English language? Yes, Miriam, give it to me. Or whoever has got the meaning now. You can use your dictionaries, which are there, which are on platform. They are already on phone. What is dialogue? Whom do you dialogue with? You want to dialogue? Yes, nobody is refusing President Uhuru Kenyatta to dialogue. He's the President of the Republic of Kenya. He can decide to dialogue with anybody. He can decide to dialogue with a thief. He can decide to dialogue with any person, even chicken thief. Well, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. I'm a strategist. Yes, I studied the subject. And I have to tell you exactly, you dialogue with who? Whom do you dialogue with? Miriam, the answer is this. You dialogue with a person who is remorseful. Dialogue can only happen, and let the church leaders hear me. I cannot come to your church. I'm coming to tell you that I stole somebody's money. And I am not still remorseful about the stealing. Then you tell me you have forgiven me. Or God will forgive me. Dialogue can only be useful when someone is remorseful. That is my point I'm making. Those two words are twins. Are twin words. That we should try to teach me some English, which is very difficult. You cannot teach a man who did a bright English. I did, but I took your word serious and I changed. I'm not going to rebuke you on that. I changed. Sometimes things go wrong way, but you wanted a catchy word, which we have. I think we have changed. You will tell us more about that, Tawi. But let me tell you. Let me come back to this word, dialogue. The bishops are asking for dialogue between the president and his deputy. What does the Constitution of Kenya say? Who is supposed to abide by the Constitution? Both. Now, who broke the Constitution? The deputy. Who is supposed to be remorseful? The deputy. Is the deputy of the Republic of Kenya remorseful? Publicly. The panel will tell me. The panel will tell me. You want to do dialogue with a man with a clenched fist, a man who goes to church and insults everybody, a man who calls Bishop Wangiru, who calls us Wajinga, a church leader like a Bishop Wangiru, who calls others Wajinga. Then what church is this? Miriam, one of the things that has pained me as an African is the question of what are they called? Stawishi? The churches from America. Evangelical churches, yes. Silly. Commercial. Our bishop tunakunya nao usiku. Tuambiane ukweli. Tuna dance nao kwa disco. Tuambiane ukweli. Wanakuja kesho asubuhi. They have brought chaos in this country because they want money. And you don't want the people here. The media here is talking about fuel, petrol. So what? Fuel, petrol is high everywhere. You people in Kenya, you have put there extra taxes. You have destroyed yourself. You have allowed institutions of corruption to be heaped within the fuel industry. Your MPs are the ones you should roast. You should actually beat them. The MPs, don't beat the government. You should have rejected those taxes. There are so many taxes on fuel compared to the taxes on fuel in Uganda or Ethiopia. But the worst problem of our nature in this country are the bishops, evangelical bishops, churches that are, and even Anglican bishop, a man called Wainaina, wrote a letter. Stephen, bring that letter out. He wrote a letter to Uhuru, condemning Uhuru. Condemning Uhuru. He's the first man who made me not to go to that church anymore. I'm an Anglican. And when Jackson Olasapiti opens his mouth to talk about that he is blocking politicians, he should block his clergy from practicing politics. Why should Provost Wainaina come out and take a position? If he supports Tanga, he can support them to the bedroom in Karen. But he cannot come to support Tanga at the expense of other people who love President Uhuru Kenyatta. So when you tell me the churches, this, the church, that, it's rubbish. It's very rubbish. Churches across Africa are acquired. Christians in Nigeria are being butchered. Which church in Africa is talking about the killings of Christians in Nigeria by Fulani herdsmen? Fulani herdsmen are killing Christians. They are being armed by Buhari to destroy, to kill people. Churches are quiet. They are making money from Buhari. If you thought I'm going to keep quiet, I'm sorry. I'm not the material that keeps quiet. I have won battles, and more so now, like the battle of Zimbabwe, of return to the United Kingdom. Hallelujah. I'm not a priest to teach, to preach. Miriam, I want to tell you, Frank, that I've done my best. Elsewhere, Christians are being butchered across Africa. In Cameroon, people are dying. The churches are quiet. In Kenya, the churches are quiet. Why is it that if Ruto is a Christian, an Anglican Christian, why does he move to 26 churches? Is God in all? God is. Why don't you pray in one church? Understand this donation is quiet. Why are you killing this country? The purpose of going from church to church is donations given publicly and quietly. Now, you want dialogue. Yes, that's very good. Dialogue is needed. President Uhuru Kenyatta can do the dialogue, but not Masanga. I cannot do dialogue with a man who is an enemy. A man who is not remorseful. A man who has not said, I'm sorry. A man who has not even said, come out to say, I'm sorry, I laughed when the BBI collapsed. I went on Twitter and I said, God has done it for us. Open the white gift. We lost a man who danced over the graves of the loss of BBI, as if he was not in the government. You are dealing with a ghost work. A ghost worker who left work should come back and say, I'm sorry. Who should be doing the dialogue? It is why the dialogue is going to be difficult. Miriam, Raila mounted game. There is a headline somewhere. Bishops dash to save last who ruled tithes. Bishop will dash to do what? The same bishops who have been, there is a bishop, a Catholic bishop, who even said, come and bring the money. Was it the bishop of Embu or Meru? Or not Meru, one of those, Miriam, one of those churches. Until the cardinal, the former cardinal, came in and said, no way. Now you are telling me, these are the churches that we should listen to. After they have spoiled, after they have let their pulpits being used as a platform to insult Uhuru Kenyatta by Ndindi Nyoro, by Chungwa, Alice Wahome. Look at what he did. He picked the people in Mount Kenya to go and insult, to dismember the president's integrity in the president's backyard. What was the aim? Where were the churches? Why was the church waiting? What was it waiting for? Yes, we agree dialogue can take place. It's not me to decide. If the president says tomorrow, we have taken dialogue, let's work together. You will not see Matanga talk. I have no powers. It is up to him. But dialogue can only happen when there is remorsefulness. Most of us who have dealt with conflict, Miriam, I submit that I did the Uganda conflict between Konyi and Museveni. I'm the man who did it. I'm the man who got that peace, you see, not the guns. I'm the man who transferred the rebels from Eastern Equatoria to Western Equatoria. I know how many were transferred over River Nile, over ropes. I am the man who stood firm, who should have been killed, assassinated by the same rebels. I'm the man who stood firm and delivered my country and got peace for my country. I'm proud. I know what peace is. I know how to get peace. But you cannot get peace in Kenya when the same people are the ones tramping for chaos on Sunday. Some other institution should have done so, but not the bishops. President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta can accept, but Dr. David Matsanga, no. Until Ruto comes publicly, I'm not the owner of this country. I'm just not even part of it. I'm a foreigner. I am Paul preaching to the Jews, to the Philippians. If my advice is not taken, I take the dust. I stand aside and watch. You have destroyed a legacy. You have undermined your boss. You have done all the things against the president. You have refused to listen to his advice. You have pretended and faked so many things that you are going for inspection of the roads and projects while you are doing politics. You haven't come out publicly to say, I am sorry. Now you are being fixed in a corner to seek dialogue. You are being told, you tell the same prophets, the same guys who were telling you to give you a platform. I wish you brought those pictures, Stephen. You brought some of the pictures where these bishops were laughing when Ruto was making very, very derogatory remarks against the president. when Moses Kuria, when people were mocking President Uhuru Kenyatta in their churches. I have no regrets. I've said my mind. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta can do the dialogue, but not Masanga. I'm sorry. I cannot do the dialogue with a person who cannot say thank you. Remember, if you have not been remorseful, so the two words the bishops should seek publicly is remorsefulness. Come to be remorseful. Don't repeat. Don't do dialogue for the sake of convenience. Be remorseful in your heart. Embrace the healing process. But the question I want to leave to the panel now is at 11:45. Miriam, it's very simple. If the dialogue is done, what happens to Raila Amolo Odinga? Should it be the dialogue for all of them? Yes. If all of them, if Ruto comes up and say, I'm sorry, I backstabbed your BBI, I destroyed your intentions of uniting a country called Kenya. Forgive me, let's work together now and make sure that I don't mobilize MPs to reject every motion brought on the floor that supports Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. That is the type of dialogue we are looking for. But what happens to Raila Amolo Odinga and the handshake? Is Ruto going to embrace the handshake? That is what the crisis. Road meets the rubber. The rubber meets the road. Back to you in the studios.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, in case you're wondering why what Doctor is saying, well, the background is from a press conference that was held yesterday, where the Catholic bishops were last evening hinting at the latest bid to save what is left of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto's broken relationship. In an address to the nation, the Conference of Catholic Bishops said the discord between the pair did not augur well for the country and its prospects of peace. By speaking at each other at cross purposes, Uhuru and Ruto are creating anxiety among the people and with it the potential to ignite political violence, the bishops said. Uhuru and Ruto have not been seeing eye to eye of late, with their fallout playing out in their public utterances, in decisions of their respective allies and actions of state officers. We are deeply concerned that if this open disagreement between the president and his deputy is taken up by their supporters, the trickle-down effect it could generate across the country will be dire to even contemplate. And that is from today's Standard newspaper on page 6. Dr. Joseph Nyanchama.
Nyanchama, before Miriam, I ask for 1 minute before Nyanchama comes in. I want to reply to Maria Katarani. An accusation of that nature cannot go unchallenged. For someone to say, Museveni paid me to keep quiet. When Miriam, you have seen every day here, me crying for my money, which Museveni has never paid me. I want to tell Katharina, Maria, that I've never been paid, never will I be paid, never do I want to be paid. I've lived in 37 years in exile. I am the only one remaining a strong member of Uganda People's Congress. Even Obote's children have deserted the party, but I'm not deserting my party until I meet Dr. Milton Obote, who was my president when we were overthrown, until I meet him in heaven, wherever he is, where God the Maker has put him. I have nothing to do with the government. I have nothing to fight. I only brought peace for the government of Republic of Uganda. There is peace in northern Uganda. You can't tell a lie that there is no peace. That peace was there. And when we people in northern Uganda were suffering, You, the Marias in the south, were shouting at us. And they were saying we are Luos. And the Luos should die. So don't bring your nonsense. Don't talk like a nonsense person here. The feelings are too high for some of us. When Museveni was butchering the people of Northern Uganda, when UPDF was killing people, when NRA was killing people, and the NRA were killing people, the people in the south were saying, let them die. Don't forget the tires that you put on around our necks. We have not forgotten. We have forgiven. We have moved on, Maria. If you are having your show now, and it is your turn now, let it be your turn. It is not my problem for me to police President Museveni. No, I am not. I have done my best. I've left. I and the Besigye found me. Besigye was eating with Museveni. Why don't you criticize? I have never eaten anything from President Museveni. You criticize Besigye, who was his doctor. I have never been Museveni's doctor. And never should you ever make such a statement on my platform. I encourage you to come back, watch me again. I have never, and I will never betray my cause. My constituency, for you to hear where I'm born, is the only constituency in Uganda, outside your Uganda, which has given the people, even my mother, voted for that small boy who is a musician. So shut up. Thank you. Back to you.
Very well. Dr. Joseph Nyanchama.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Miriam. Dr. Masanga, please cool down a bit. Don't worry about...
the subject is closed.
Yes.
Dr. Nyachama, I've made my statement. I wanted to tell this lady or whoever it is that I have never and I will never. I will remain where I am. I will die from where I can die. God has not arranged me to die in Uganda. I can die anywhere. But I will never allow statements, sweeping statements of this nature. I stand for the truth. I've suffered more. When I was fighting Museveni, Bob Wine was singing songs praising Museveni. Stupid. Don't bring that stupidity here. When I was fighting Museveni, Besigye was nursing Museveni. So don't bring sentiment. If you're a kid, remain a kid, or block her out of my paragraphs. I don't care. The Nigerians were making noise and destroyed our TV. We did not take part in getting Nnamdi Kanu. And we are not going to allow stupidity on our platform. This is not a platform where you come to make statements and you go away with them. Now they have found out they are filing in court. It is nothing to do with us. We didn't know what was happening. So, Dr. Nyachama, I'm sorry, but I have to take that stand. Back to you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Thank you, Miriam, and my fellow panelists, Sharon, Tawish. Today, Miriam, I want to speak from the Christian perspective, and I want to speak as an elder. And I want to reveal I belong to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, where I serve as an elder. Because I want to say so that effectively we will tackle the issue the bishops were bringing about reconciliation. And I want today also the bishop to sit back and listen, because sometimes they mislead Kenyans in certain aspects. How long did it take them to realize that the person they want to reconcile with the president was using the pulpit to demean the head of state? Miriam, allow me therefore, because they are predetermined ways of reconciling people, especially the one who has gone astray. The key word here, Miriam, is trust. Trust is the currency of true leadership, and it is the power that is deposited into the leader's influence account. How did we reach here, Miriam, before even the bishop tell us about dialogue? Miriam, I want the bishops, wherever they are, if they are reasoning, not sometimes to mislead Kenyans because you are in such a vantage position on spiritual issues. There are known ways of reconciling people, Miriam, especially the one who has gone astray. And it is very clear, Miriam, and I am speaking from a Christian perspective on matters pertaining to reconciliation. There are steps to restoration, reconciliation, and reclamation after you have experienced a moral failure or otherwise. One of the parties or who want to be brought into the reconciliation bracket indeed experienced a moral failure, and that is what the head of state said, the reason why they departed. There was moral failure from his part, and that is why he had to seek handshake. Miriam, I hope the bishops are listening. If you fall in your character, especially as a public figure, before you are brought into the bracket of reconciliation and the dialogue, there are certain conditions you have to meet. Whoever failed on that aspect of character, one, you must admit your need for help. We want the bishop to tell us, as the person they want to bring to shake hand or dialogue with the president, has he admitted that he needs help? Number two, you must confess your violation of trust, as the person confessed that he violated the trust to his boss. And you must identify a true and a reliable authority in your life to be accountable to. This person who has failed in moral aspect has identified the authority who he will be accountable to. And they must confess publicly and declare. So there are several steps, Miriam, because there are many. And these are things we want bishops to declare, because we don't want them also to play politics. Because it is really heartbreaking, sorry, Miriam, that some of the very bishops rent out their pulpit at a price. And we were brought to ridicule as a nation where politicians go in charge to take over and give permission. I do not know whether there is a Seventh Adventist in the panel. I think Professor is, but he's not around. You only belong in my church, Seventh-day Adventist. You are a member of one church. And when you visit another church, you must declare, I am from this church. How can you attend more than one church in one worshiping day? It does not happen. In fact, that is a pointer that you are not a Christian. You can only feast another church. You say, this day I'm going to worship in church B. But you cannot feast 5 churches in a day. I think the bishops have failed, and they need to follow the known procedure and the steps for restoration, reconciliation, and reclamation after one has experienced a moral failure, and the other one we know because they say they want to handshake the deputy president and the president because there was mistrust. Until such conditions are met, I think bishops are just following a futile path, and we need to bring them to order. We know they are men of God, because even the Bible is open to everyone to read. We have also read, we know God's divine promise. And we want to tell the head of state, before he accepts that, the person who moved away because of moral defect must first of all confess his violation of trust to him. For now, Miriam, I submit.
Very well, thank you. So much, Samuel Tawish.
Very well. Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. Thank you, Dr. David Masanga, my colleague panelist, of course, including Joseph Nyanchama himself and the others, and the viewers who are watching this program this morning or afternoon. Miriam, I think like Dr. Masanga and Dr. Nyanchama have laid the basis or the foundation of this discussion. I also want to take it from a Christian point of view. Remember, in the Gospel of Luke, there was a prodigal son, one who asked the father for inheritance and went out, squandered the fortunes of his inheritance, but again wanted to come back home. He went and became, he went out and became a person who was feeding the pigs. But when he realized his mistake, he asked to come back. That is about asking for remorse, asking for forgiveness when one has gone astray. It's natural that at one point or the other we can go astray, we can maybe go off lane. But again, the kind of heart and remorsefulness that comes out of us is one which allows us to be granted yet a new opportunity. And I think when you look into it, there's an aspect of courtesy, Miriam. One is, are you a person who can say, I'm sorry for what I did, and therefore ready to come back on track? A person who says, whatever I did it maybe outside my conscience, and I'm ready to repent and ask for forgiveness and come back on track. That is not the person of William Ruto, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. It is hypocritical indeed, and you've listened Dr. Masanga's submission as well as Dr. Nyanchama's submission, that this is a man who is not ready to come out and embrace and say, I did this and that, and therefore I'm asking for forgiveness. From a culture where I come from, the Ma community, Miriam and my colleague panelists, they say, when a father and a son are fighting in a family, first of all, the elders gather and talk to the son to ask for forgiveness from the father before now they can implore on the father to forgive the son. But in this case, we have the hypocritical church leaders in the name of the Catholic priests who are coming out and asking that Deputy President, that President Uhuru Kenyatta should actually reconcile. It is more of like a matter of obligation that he should reconcile with his deputy. What have they done in making sure that the Deputy President can first of all reconcile and ask for forgiveness for whatever kind of ills is committed against this republic, is committed against the government of the Republic of Kenya, is committed against the people of Kenya who voted for him and President Uhuru Kenyatta into power, and equally so to the President Uhuru Kenyatta who happens to be his boss. We haven't quite seen that happen, and the church leaders are not coming out categorically to ask for Deputy President William Ruto actually to toe the line and seek for forgiveness first of all, because again, he cannot continue to demean, undermine President Uhuru Kenyatta and his administration, yet again go behind the scenes to try and implore on the church leaders to help him strike a compromise or a truce between himself and President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is hypocritical of them. It's foolhardy because we want to see him come out and speak openly as to why he's been undermining and demeaning President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, including his initiatives for a legacy when he retires from the presidency. Dr. Masanga has spoken so well about the pulpit, about the platform that the church leaders and the church in Kenya has offered to Deputy President William Ruto to continually belittle, undermine, and demean the presidency, demean President Uhuru Kenyatta. And now they are coming out appearing to be saints, appearing to be the ones who can help strike a compromise between the two leaders. I think in a nutshell, that is a very big hypocrisy coming from the church leaders. It's something that we should not be entertaining. You've seen Deputy President William Ruto, alongside his Tanga allies, coming out and castigating, demeaning, and undermining President Uhuru Kenyatta, and more often, Miriam, really, insulting the president at the pulpit. But nothing have we seen coming from the church leaders or even the churches themselves trying to reprimand Deputy President William Ruto for that kind of behavior or unbecoming behavior. Miriam, in itself, it tells you the level of hypocrisy in our country is something that should not be entertained. It could be in the interest of Kenyans, or maybe myself, that Deputy President William Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta can indeed reconcile, because it will be in the greater interest of the Republic of Kenya and the people of Kenya that the Deputy President and the President of the Republic of Kenya can work together without the kind of antagonism that we are seeing. But how did we come to where we are today? I think that is where the conversation has to begin from. It is not that President Uhuru Kenyatta has done everything. I think the clash point, or where the divergent point, has been informed by the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta wants to achieve his legacy, wants to fulfill his pledges and promises he made to the people of Kenya in the run-up to the election, that by the time he finishes his second and final term in office, he would have completed A, B, C, D. But here we have a deputy president who is supposed to help the president achieve his vision, achieve his legacy, fighting the very vision, fighting the very legacy, and making it difficult for the president to realize his vision and legacy, simply because his eyes are actually set on succeeding the president. His eyes are set on becoming the next president of the Republic of Kenya. But then if you are a very good person, or a person of goodwill, who really wishes or has the interest of the people at heart, he would be helping the president, first of all, to achieve his legacy, to realize his vision, so that he can use the same as a stepping stone for him to become president come the 2022 general election. But what we are seeing coming from Deputy President William Ruto is the exact opposite of what a deputy president should be. As I finalize on this point, Miriam, when the leaders or the church leaders come out and ask for the two leaders really to reconcile, I think they first and foremost should implore on Deputy President William Ruto to be courteous enough. Courteous, first of all, to say it was out of grace that the people of Kenya voted for him to become a running mate and consequently a deputy president for the Republic of Kenya for 2 consecutive terms. It will be courteous of him as well to come out and say, I'm sorry for all the misdeeds. I'm sorry for demeaning, undermining, and trying to fight the president in all fronts, including the fight against corruption, his vision, and of course, realizing his legacy. In that perspective, Miriam, therefore, it will make President Uhuru Kenyatta's even hard to melt down and consider as to whether really it is necessary for him to reconcile with his deputy. As I finalize my last point, Miriam, remember Deputy President William Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta at one point were not actually in agreement. They could not work together politically. I mean, President Kenyatta reached out to Deputy President William Ruto. They decided to work together. But again, there was that ever politicking that was coming out from the opposition led by Raila Odinga of ODM. All of us understand what happened in 2007. In 2007 in this country, 2013 and 2017, where even Raila Odinga went ahead and saw himself as the people's president. That is not a situation we will want to be replicated in this country, not even anytime soon. So in itself, President Uhuru Kenyatta thought it well that maybe for us to move forward as a country, yes, I've won, I've been sworn in, even the Supreme Court has confirmed the same. Let me reach out to my brother Raila Odinga and work together with him alongside Deputy President William Ruto. But for William Ruto, I think he's behaving like the first wife who feels like she has all the entitlement, she has all the right, and therefore the second wife or anybody who comes after him or her does not have any right. That is very unfortunate for a country that is trying to reconcile her people to live together in peace, stability, and tranquility. So for us to move forward, and these attempts to reconcile the two must begin with William Ruto actually expressing the remorse and saying, I'm sorry for what I've did. Short of it, Miriam, I don't think that anything is going to bear fruit out of the endeavors that the priests are trying to make. I submit.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if there's anything else.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to make a point again here on the question of dialogue and the question of remorsefulness. One, it is the deputy president who brought the word dynasty and hustler. And when we are talking these things in this country, let some people not think we come here to broadcast and go home relaxed. We must be serious. And some of the seriousness of this matter is we should not entertain stupidity. This thing here, honestly, any mature person who is not, I am not looking for money from Kenya, please. And I have enough grandchildren to look after anyway. I can sit and look after them. I'm only here talking the truth, which is going to affect everybody here tomorrow. The deputy president brought the narrative of hustler and the dynasty. He poisoned people's minds. Today, as we speak here, as we are here, all of you, you are Kenyans. I'm not a Kenyan. Sincerely speaking, Raila Odinga has supporters. Some of them, even when you told them that Raila Odinga is very bad, they can reach you on the streets of Nairobi. Yes, it is true. Let's not pretend to be very good and look like we are good. No, we are not. We are in trouble. Ruto has got supporters. You have seen them. All of you who are on the panel here. You have seen when you write, even when you criticize Wario, a thief who carried 2 concubines to take them to Brazil when they are beautiful women in Brazil. How do you carry ugly women from somewhere to take to a place? Now, if you call Mr. Wario a thief who has been convicted, now sentenced, the judgment has come out. He's guilty. He did it knowingly. They come for you, they say, you are targeting Ruto. Mr. Ruto's history on elections is very clear. The panel should know that. Very clear. He never accepts. In 2007, it was Ruto who jumped on the table in the KICC. Raila did not jump on the table. Raila did not jump on the table. I can play you the clips of Ruto jumping on the table, wanting to kill the chairman of the Electoral Commission. The pictures don't lie. And they are not photoshopped. He has never accepted any defeat, that guy you see. 1992, who was smashing people? It is the same guy. Now, if these two are the people that you are going to put forward as your presidential candidates, and none of them is going to accept elections, I want you to tell me which type of elections, which country you will have. Unless, and that is why Uhuru Kenyatta was very clever. He said, let's do a BBI first. Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila said, let's do peace first. Let's change a few things that make this country not agree on the results of an election. People went ahead and the deputy president, you remember Dr. Nyachama and the legacy and the Miriam and the Tawish. Remember one thing, the man had already brought the narrative of a hustler. I am a hustler. And those people are dynasties. Remember, my people of Kenya, I might be a foreigner, thank you. But I've seen this before elsewhere. I've seen this elsewhere for a long time. Until you remove the hustler and the dynasty, narrative which is poisoning every Kenyan today, you might not have peace. I'm telling you, everything that is happening, even the fuel hikes, you see, even the fuel hikes, it is being twisted as if it is Uhuru who is very dangerous. Everything that is happening right now, the deputy has fixed it too, has got people who say all these things are happening because Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is the source of the problem. So if you bring a man and pin your friend as the source of the problem, Miriam, and the rest of you, how are you going to unite? And I brought in the question of Raila. Raila came in and shook hands with His Excellency the President. Ruto and Raila cannot be in one bag at the same time. They can pretend to be. Irreconcilable differences, put them apart. Is it time that we looked at the strategy of dialogue? What type of dialogue? What format of dialogue? Before we rush with this type of the bishop type of dialogue, who some of them who have eaten the money already. Remember, some of them have the money offerings from the same people they now want to put it together. Then now, after election, again we go back. Whoever wins the election starts hunting down the other. You get the point? Is that the dialogue that we are looking for? If it is dialogue, let's have a national dialogue, an overall national dialogue, where everybody will come on board. And that is what BBI had done. That's what BBI wanted to bring. So that the people can now sit and say, this is what we want. And unfortunately, the process of BBI was hijacked by a political process. The healing process was thrown out of the window. Now we are, Miriam, on square one, back to square one. Where if you declare elections now, believe me or not, if you hold these elections of Kenya the way they are, some people are saying these two men, none of them, okay, Raila can decide, but his supporters, some of them might not agree when the election has not been free and fair. And that's why I brought this topic tonight. Can we, Africa, hold a free and a fair election? Where in Africa have you seen a free, fair, transparent election? That discussion will take place at 8 p.m. East African Standard Time. I have never seen one in Africa except in South Africa. And peacefully in Ghana, I have witnessed one. But I've never seen a free and a fair election. Across in Uganda, there was an election this year in February. But if you look at the wounds of the people, the younger men who are being mutilated, cut to pieces, who have lost their lives, manhood because of elections, the people who are still in prisons in that country because of elections, then you can call that you want an election in Africa. Look across in Tanzania, Miriam, and the panel. Elections are brought wounds. Magufuli died when he did not want even to know there is a party called Chadema. Most of the Chadema MPs ran out. Look across in Nigeria. 84 million people registered to vote. Out of a population of 220 million people. Only 28 million vote. What happened to the 56 or 58 or whatever you call if you do your mathematics? Do we need, there's something, there's no election. Look, when I was talking about peace, I'm talking about the peace relatively, which is, it is not that the whole country could be, everybody would say, saying I'm all right. Even in the United States of America, there are certain areas where people are not peaceful. But it depends on the degree of peace. You know, the Africans and the black Africans and the Spaniards, are they peaceful in America? Tawish, do they live peacefully? Do they enjoy? What is peace? Do they really enjoy the peace of America being a democracy of 250 years? They don't. They don't enjoy that peace. Look at South Sudan. Is in a mess. Again, dialogue was done wrongly. All of us on this platform have been talking about South Sudan. Where it went wrong. We did a dialogue which was wrong. So when the archbishops or bishops here start saying dialogue, they better qualify the word dialogue. You are not going to force people to come on table. Now look at what is happening in South Sudan. Riek Machar is a faction. Another faction is created in his faction. Another rebel army has created itself. We are in chaos. Somalia, across east of us, is there peace? The dialogue has been done how many times by the Prime Minister, Robbie? Still up to now, the President and the Deputy, they don't see eye to eye. Each of them has crowded a militia around himself. So dialogue must be with people who are remorseful. Joseph, that is my point, and Sharon, and Tawish, and Miriam. My point is that we can only create dialogue when there is remorsefulness. Those who come before law must have clean hands. You can't come before law when you are loaded with a burden. Therefore, those who want dialogue, President Uhuru Kenyatta can go ahead and do it. And the last to my friend Maria, Nambeshe is a younger man to me. So he's younger than me. When I was working, he was in school. I only told you that that constituency where I come from is the only one that voted in favor of an opposition candidate called Bob Wine, the guitar man, called the musician. Even my own small sickly mother might have voted. So whatever you want, you are aiming at, I don't know. You go and ask him, not me. I am not part of what goes on. I'm not National Unity Party man. But the decision by the constituency decided that they like the way Nambeshe does his things. He came with the party and they got the votes. It's not my problem. And I've never opposed him. He's my relative. So what do I do with a relative who has decided to have his own opinion? And I've never said there is peace. Peace can be, what is peace then? Peace is, if you sit on the road from morning begging for money, are you peaceful? Miriam, let's describe maybe peace. If you go from one hotel to the other begging, give me money for my children, you are not here. Is that peaceful? Are you peaceful? What is peace then? Yes, there are beggars in America. There are beggars also. See? So it is very difficult for me. I've done my best. At my age, I'm not going to do more than what I can do. You give the baton to other younger people to follow. My children will fight on, and maybe Maria You can now fight on with my children, not me. Because I've gone away. I've done my best. I'm in the late 60s going home. So I did my best. At least I have not served in a government that brutalized people or brutalized me. I am independent-minded. Thank you. So for that matter, peace does not mean you are only, there are no guns. Peace means the economy is working. Peace means cars are not driving upside down. Peace means the churches are not used as pulpit. The pulpits are not used as spreading gossip and rumors. Peace means the people at home receive the water. My village today receives water. I come from a mountainous country. My village receives water, piped water in a pipe. I was shocked. I left there 37 years ago, and I can hear there is water. I said, can you put on a video? And I saw my younger niece, grandchildren collecting water from my compound. There's water there. So that the very fact that you have brought some water to a mountainous place like my constituency, it serves peace for the human being who was looking for water 10 miles away down the mountain, Miriam. 10 miles. And the women could carry water jerrycan up to the top of the mountain. But when it comes to what kills Africa, Miriam, is corruption. Corruption has destroyed. Whether you make any government which is good, there will be corruption. There will be. There will be. In Tanzania, Magufuli died when he had put so many people in jail because they were corrupt. The only thing that the government in Uganda can do is to look for these corrupt guys and lock them up, and then there will be peace. Part of the problem of Uganda is the corruption embedded among the people going to seek patronage. And that is where the problem is. The bishops in Kenya are seeking patronage. Tawish, am I wrong? They are seeking audience with the president. That's patronage. And then they come out to say, we are the people who brokered the peace. Yet they have even taken Ruto's money. So you and Yambie, the Chema, your last one. Please. 1 minute.
Thank you, Dr. For that. I still insist, as you have said, in regarding this matter, before the dialogue of the two individuals done, the person who violated the trust of the other must confess and say is ready. Number two, it is not even a dialogue, Dr. Masanga, we need a national conversation hinged on chapter 6, where the citizen will demand those who have diverted public money should never seek any seat to occupy position of power, so that we streamline the country once and for all. Number three, how can the Catholic bishops seek dialogue with the politicians before they seek dialogue among themselves first and come with one voice as religious leaders? Number four, finally, Dr. Masanga, one of their bishops behaved badly. He called a leader, specifically Musalia Mudavadi, Mujinga, a bishop, Dr. Masanga. The same bishop went ahead to declare that Raila Odinga is not a Christian. Dr. Masanga, really? It is only God who can judge whose servants are. And these bishops, first of all, they need to dialogue amongst the fellow Christians and do things above board, because some of them are agents for the corrupt money, and this is very disheartening in our country. Let them not pretend at this moment, because we are very annoyed that some of the bishops have given politicians part of the pulpit to use to advance their political interest. First of all, they need, in fact, to apologize to the country. They come together, and we need a national conversation. Because some politicians and religious leaders take us ordinary citizens as if we don't know. We know we are as intelligent as themselves. They should not take advantage of those divine positions to lie to us. The Kenyan challenge is higher than they are trying. It's not between two people. The problem is corruption, and they know, and some of them are a part of the syndicate. So we need a national conversation. Dr. Masanga, I submit.
Thank you very much. The legacy trend, your last word or comment on this before we close down.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Matanga and my co-panelists. On this issue, allow me to deviate a little bit and talk about the church. And I think what the church is trying to do here is trying to play its role as a church by preaching the gospel of peace and love. But however, I think first things first, they should find out the root cause of this division. Could it be more than what meets the eye? Because I know it's not going to be an easy task, but as you have mentioned, I think if the DP is going to be willing to be remorseful, then we can have a dialogue. Yeah, and not just for the two, but also have a dialogue for the three. That is Raila also inclusive, because at the end of the day, we need continuity and unit of purpose. Yes, thank you.
Tawish.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ori.
Thank you very much, Legacy, Sharon. Yeah. And thank you very much, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. Yeah.
Much appreciations, Dr. Masanga. Much as we truly appreciate that William Ruto has supported us, of course, across the country, and so has President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister and ODM leader Raila Odinga. It is important for us to understand that as we are today and where we are heading, especially as regards to 2022 general election, it is in the best interest of the people of Kenya that all the leaders can speak in one voice, more so much as they can have ideological differences or political differences, but at least they can at times sit down, have a handshake, and maybe a chat, so that the people of Kenya can have that confidence and trust in their leaders, that actually they can borrow a leaf, or even they can leave as example or role models to the ordinary people. Because the differences or the fights between the two leaders or more often trickles down to the ordinary mwananchi, and it has a greater impact or effect to the ordinary mwananchi more than the leaders. And when, of course, the leaders disagree and they do not read from the same script, we have always seen what happens on the ground. People go down and start fighting each other, something which we should not continually entertain. Indeed, Dr. Masanga, it is important that the two leaders really can reconcile, or even the leaders who are in disagreement can reconcile. But this one fundamental aspect you have mentioned in brief, Dr. Masanga, that there has to be remorsefulness. There has to be that kind of a heart of repentance, a heart of saying, I am sorry, before anything else can happen, before anything else can proceed. So we cannot rush to have dialogue like what Professor has said, Dr. Nyanchama, I beg your pardon, that we need, for example, a national dialogue. But how then can we have a national dialogue when people are on grandstanding, when people have taken position and sides, when everybody says or feels that the position they have taken is one which is right and nobody else can tell them anything else? First of all, I believe if the church leaders are genuine enough they should come out and tell us what is the motive behind them trying to implore the two leaders really to reconcile. Is it that Deputy President William Ruto has behind the scenes reached out to the priest or the church leaders to try and reach out to President Uhuru Kenyatta so that they can reconcile? If that is then the case, we want to see him come out and express remorse publicly and tell Kenyans that he is sorry for whatever he's been doing for the last almost 9 years against the President of the Republic of Kenya and against the wishes and the interests of the people of Kenya before anything else can happen. It is not that we are here for grandstanding. It is not that we are here to reject any attempt for the leaders really to reconcile and work together. It will serve the best interest that they work together. But again, that has to bear in mind the sincerity and the genuineness that it deserves, that William Ruto can come out and say, I'm sorry to the people of Kenya and President Uhuru Kenyatta before we can sit down on the table and agree on the way forward for the people of Kenya and this republic. Indeed, Dr. Masanga, you have said that this country is greater than any particular individual's interest, including even the ambition to become president. If that ambition can be sacrificed for the sake of the greater good of the Republic of Kenya, so be it, Dr. Masanga. For now, I submit because I understand it's a conversation that we cannot just end it today. It's a conversation that will be ongoing. We'll have yet another opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you.
Discuss more on the same. I submit, Daftari.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much, Tawish. Thank you, Miriam, from the studios. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Dr. Nachama. Our role here is to voice out, and we have voiced out. We have said what is supposed to be said. It is up to the government. We have no control over President Uhuru Kenyatta to decide whether he can do dialogue, which type of dialogue. It is up to the president to make a decision. But ours, as journalists and a fourth estate, we feel we bring in issues that people must bring on table. And I thank you all for having joined me in my opinion. The show returns again tomorrow at 3 p.m. You can still continue watching Punchline Africa TV. And tonight also at 8 p.m. East African Standard Time, we shall be talking about elections in Africa. Free and fair, transparent elections. Are they possible in Africa? As we speak right now in Kenya, breaking news, the Chief Justice is swearing in the Electoral Commission of Kenya right now in the Supreme Court. They are being sworn in 11 months, yet all reports, commissions of inquiry, said the Electoral Commission should be there 24 months so that they can arrange a free, fair, and transparent elections. You can see for yourselves where our mistakes come from. Thank you very much watching. Those watching across from Germany, from where, Maria, I've done my best and I will not block you. The only thing is when you make sensational accusations, you think that all of us look like you or are like you. Not all of us are like that. We don't run for money. We would have gone for it long time ago in all these years. So, but you continue watching. Uganda one day will have the peace. I have seen several governments come and go. At least you might not have witnessed one. You are only talking because you are some of the people who celebrated when Museveni came to power. You celebrated and said, this is the savior. That you said Obote was a killer. So there you are, because Obote was a Luo. Now where are we? We are now back to square one. And therefore, let's forget and forge on. Those who can fight, but we cannot condemn situations. The credit comes to where it goes. Yes, peace can be. If you don't have money in the pocket, Miriam, you are not peaceful. There won't be peace. You might be looking for stones to stone someone. So thank you very much. Have a nice lunch. Goodbye.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.